A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there. Welcome to my channel, the Twin Flame Union. In this particular session, I would be sharing a love story, a twin flame love story of Shiva and Shakti. Shiva and Shakti got into union when they became the Ardhanareshwar form. Ardha means half, Nareshwar means man and woman. So half man, half woman form. If you Google Ardhanareshwar, you will see an image of Shiva and Shakti, where you will see on one side there will be Shiva, the man, and on the other side it would be Shakti half, but they will be joined together. And that's exactly what the message of the twin flame union is as well. So I'm going to be sharing this beautiful love story today of Indian god and goddess, Shiv and Shakti. Actually, Shiv and Shakti's story is one of the most heartwarming love stories in the twin flame journey, because their love story is also a result of ascension journey. When a man and a woman, when they truly ascend, that's the time they meet their divine counterpart. Because they are in complete energies, full energies, so they're only going to project and they're only going to reflect onto the opposite polarity personality in a fully healed form. So they don't have to really make any efforts, because by nature they will be drawn to each other and only each other. But it's not so easy, and it wasn't easy for Shiva also, though Shiva is God and he is very powerful God. But still, even he had to go through the pain of the twin flame journey, and he also had to go through separation. So let's get started from where it all happened. So the love story of Shiv and Parvati did not start when Parvati was born or in that lifetime. It was born when she was Sati. Yes, Sati was Shiva's beloved, and initially it was a simple life that they were living. Shiva was very busy, immersed in meditation. He was always doing inner work. Inner work was Shiva's lifestyle, and he hadn't dated anyone, and there are no stories as such of Shiva being with anyone else. But he was prayed by a lot of people, and he was very different. Like, there are many gods. If you look at all the other gods, you will see that they dress up in a certain way. They wear certain ornaments in a certain way. They wear certain kind of clothes. And one can look at them and say that they are a god and goddess. But Shiva looked like a very different god, because he had long dreadlocks, and he had a snake around his neck. He would wear the skin of deer or tiger. And these were basically skin of the animals who pass over with their own age. And, he would live in the forest. Shiva had a very different lifestyle. He would live in the forest. He would live in snow-capped mountains. He would live very far away and remote in those places. And he was always spending time in his own solitude. He loved his solitude. And of course, you cannot do inner work if you don't learn the art of solitude. Even if you're with many people, you can still be completely immersed in your own self and completely enjoy your solitude. So Shiva was a hermit, and he was a hermit who was always constantly busy in sadhana, you would say. However, a great part of his ascension was still on its way. And when he had ascended to a certain amount, a certain level, that's when he manifested Sati in his life. Sati was a princess. She was the daughter of Daksh Prajapati. Many people also say that the story of Shiv and Sati, is a love story for sure. It's a divine love story, but it's also a very tragic love story, because there's a lot of pain that Shiva and Sati go through together. And again, when they are in long separation, he goes through a lot of pain, for which he goes even deeper within himself. He does more and more of inner work. and his ascension is the only focus, because he has to heal the pain that was formed, the wound that was formed when Sati was gone. But before that also, when Sati was alive, it was as if Shiva had not gotten full acceptance from a lot of people, or maybe for him, because Sati again was exactly like Shiva. In the twin flame journey, your twin is you and you are your twin. And your twin is going to bring out whatever is there within you which needs work, which needs polishing, which needs clearing, and which needs healing. So Sati definitely brought those things out. And though he was a god and he was prayed by many people, yet the woman he loved, his father, the woman's father, Sati's father, who's Daksh Prajapati, was absolutely against their relationship, because he simply did not like Shiva's appearance. He did not like how he dressed up. He did not like what clothes he wore. He did not like the way he used to live in the forest. He used to live in the jungles. He used to live like a hippie, or he used to live like, alone. So Daksh Prajapati had way too much judgment on Shiva. He simply did not accept Shiva the way Shiva was, or the way Shiva is. Goddess Sati is basically the personification or the manifestation of the divine female energy, the feminine energy, the divine feminine energy. And she is obviously the incarnation of Shakti itself, goddess Mahashakti, Mahadevi. Now, she took human birth. Sati was a human, and her family was also human. But she was also born in a family which was a very well-known family, a well-respected family. But it was the suggestion of Brahma, who is the Lord of creation. So we have Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Brahma is the Lord of creation, Vishnu is the Lord of preservation, and Mahesh is known as the Lord of destruction. But a lot of people confuse this destruction by thinking that he destructs everything. No, he destructs what is not in alignment with humanity. He will destruct anything which is not in alignment. So when she was born as the daughter of Daksh Prajapati, and Daksh Prajapati is also the son of Brahma, by the way. It was done because Shiva was in deep meditation, and she was Shiva's divine counterpart, and Shiva had to come out of long meditation, the hermitage. He always went in very deep, and with her love and with her presence and with her attraction, Shiva would come out of the meditation, they'll get married. This was Brahma's plan. Sati was obviously in love with Shiva even when she was a child. She only wanted Shiva. She was a very, the word would be a real devotee a true devotee of Shiva. But when she started growing up as a child, she was obviously praying to Shiva, and at that point in time, she wasn't really, thinking that I will only marry Shiva, but her life was all about Shiva. But when she grew up and she became a woman and she, became an adult, every time her father would bring a relationship proposal for her, a marriage proposal for her, she would simply not want to do it. She just felt that, it's not for me. And as a person also, Sati was not very enamored by the gold, by the jewelry, by the fancy life of the palace, because she was a devotee since childhood. And most people who are true devotees since childhood, they would not want any of this materialistic world. They are not very happy, or they are not very excited about it. They know that it exists, it's a part of existence, it's all right. And being a princess, she obviously didn't have any dearth of money or a great life or a great status. She enjoyed everything, but that is not something that was attracting her, or she did not find it to be the prime goal of life. And when she was getting these marriage proposals from other kings and crown prince, she was not interested in them. She did not find them attractive. She did not see anything in them that would, make her want to be with them or get married to them. And the more she got these proposals, or the more her father, parents would tell her to get married to someone, settle down, in her mind, she kept thinking more and more about Shiva only. Her desire to be with Shiva started increasing. It became very strong after a point. Obviously, it is not easy to get Shiva's attention. So to get Shiva's attention, finally, she feels that, she has to renounce, she has to leave all the life that she had in the palace, the luxuries that she had as a princess. And if she would have married to some king or some crown prince, then she would have obviously become the queen. But she only wanted to be the queen of Shiva's heart. And she left everything and she went to a forest, and there she started doing daily prayers, and all her time started going into worshipping Shiva. She was so deep into Shiva's prayers that her penance and her, again I would use the word sadhana, she was a seeker as well, but she was in love with Shiva. Her prayers basically started bringing Shiva out of his deep meditation. Her prayers were so deep, her technique was so deep that she gave up on food, and she would eat only one leaf a day, and then she even gave up on that. And all of this love and devotion and all of this bhakti and all her loyalty and all her, she felt such pure deep love for Shiva. It basically brought Shiva out, started bringing Shiva out of his deep penance as well, or deep meditation as well. And one fine day, Shiva, Lord of dance, Nataraj, Shiva, Pashupati Nath, Lord of animals. Shiva has so many qualities. If you look at Shiva, he's one god. He dances, he plays the instrument, his damru, he lives with animals, he's really fond of animals, and he likes to be in nature. He's always aligned with nature. He lives in solitude. He's a very unique god, but he's at the same time very human. So he has brought out the human qualities of God, of a deity. At the same time, he's very much in touch with his spiritual side, his soul side. So when he felt that he should marry her, he was in love with Sati. He fell in love with Sati. Sati was very beautiful. She was very beautiful, really adorable and very feminine and very strong. She also had, strong masculine qualities and strong feminine qualities, because if she would take an oath or if she would decide on something, she would do it. And once she decided that she would be with Shiva only, she would marry him. She did everything that she could to get him into her life. So when Shiva opened his eyes, he came out of the deep meditation, the long meditation. He was the one who asked her to be his bride, and he confessed the love he felt for her as well. And they were both very happy. They were the happiest couple together. There was nothing that could replace this happiness that they had for this love that they had found within each other. And when Sati returned to her father's house to meet him, to give him the good news, she obviously thought that her family would be very happy for her, her parents would be very happy for her. So she, wanted him, the father, to meet her bridegroom, the groom actually, and her husband. She had already accepted him as a husband, and he had already accepted her as his wife. There was no other thought in their minds. But the big problem with Daksha Prajapati was that he was a very arrogant man. In Hindi, we have a word called ghamand. Ghamand is arrogance. And we all say that when you have this type of arrogance in your life, then your life is not the same. It's not the life that, you're not in your human energies. You're very much thinking that you are the best. There's nothing above you, and you're like the god of the world, and you're like everybody's master, and other people should bow down to you. Such people normally cannot see real love, true love, affection, one love. They're very blind to these emotions. They're always in their own self. They don't even care about other things like nature, flora and fauna. It's all about, just getting more and more wealth, getting more and more name and fame. It's all about me, 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 me. I, me, myself. I'm the only one here. I'm always right. So, big time narcissism. And he was like, I'm not gonna let this happen. My daughter cannot marry this strange guy who has this long hair, dreadlocks. He lives in the forest. He's simply not, eligible to be a part of my family, he thought. My son-in-law should not be like this. My son-in-law should be some god, some deity, a man who's very well-dressed, who has riches and wealth, and he has, all of those things, all the materialistic things he wanted for her daughter. And it was not even about her daughter, because if he really cared about her daughter's feeling, if he really loved her daughter so much, then he would have been happy for her, that she's found the person who she loves. And she didn't do anything wrong. She only prayed, she did meditation, she did sadhana, she did dhyan. And if after doing so much inner work she found the man, then that man has to be her real man. That man has to be a true love. He did not think all of that. He only thought it's about my status, it's about the money, the wealth, my lifestyle, my name. He only thought about that. While Shiva was the god who was prayed by all the gods and goddesses, because he was also called Mahadev or Devo ke Dev, which means even the Devis and Devtas used to pray to Shiva. So imagine he wanted Sati to marry anyone, any other deity. It was okay if that deity prayed to Shiva, that's fine with him, but it should not be Shiva. So that type of hypocrisy he had. Daksh also had this arrogance that he is the son of Brahma, and he was so amazing, he's so powerful, he has so much opulence, so much money, he has a name all over the world, and he was a warrior. So he had way too much pride and way too much arrogance, and he just started thinking too much about himself, and he would call Shiva things like he was dirty. He would say things like he was a dirty person, he didn't wear proper clothes, look at him, look at you, you are such a beautiful princess, and look at him, he doesn't even look like a god. So all of these things really used to hurt Sati, but she would just forgive the father, because she was like, nothing can come between us, we are divine lovers, we are a divine couple. Whether my father likes it or not, whether he approves it or not, I'm still gonna marry Shiv only. Nobody else can be my husband. And she thinks that, okay, this is a small thing. She doesn't consider it too big. Despite all his problem making, and despite all of his trying to stop Sati, and all of his negativity, his lack of participation, his refusal to bless them properly, despite all of that, all the gods and goddesses, all the deities, they come together and they get them married. Okay, so Daksh Prajapati is unhappy with the marriage, but the celebration was huge and everybody was invited. It was a feast and everyone was happy. Everyone was happy, and mostly the gods and goddesses, Brahma was very happy, because finally Shiva is out of the deep meditation and he is gonna be again with his beloved in an earthly form. That is what Brahma, Vishnu, all of them wanted. Shiva is also said to be a human god. He was human being. This is what they've said. There are stories about it. So that's the reason why, again, when he lives with Sati, with his wife in a marriage, he's living in a human earthly form. But despite being a human, and despite being, he was a mortal human being earlier, but he did so much deep meditation. He went so deep within that he became a divine being, and Shiva continues to live. Shiva cannot die, because Shiva is now ascended master. But he lives in higher dimensions. He obviously does not, you cannot see him everywhere. He lives in higher dimension. But one great thing about Shiva is that all dimensions, people in all dimensions, even the ghost, even the demons, they all pray to Shiva. So Shiva and Sati's union is celebrated on Mahashivratri, which is on the new moon, and it's on in the month of February. Mahashivratri is the auspicious night where this wedding is celebrated even today, celebration of the union of the divine goddess and Shiva. And Mahashivratri, like Ratri means night in Hindi, and Maha means great, and Shiv, so great Shiva night, basically, if you translate it. And it also celebrates their love, their coming together, their marriage. It's a month of love for them. Now, if you ever come to India, you'll see that in India, we even pray to the genitals of Shiv and Parvati. So India back then was a very advanced country. Sex was not taboo. It was not seen in a negative way. And when something is not taboo, and when something is, there's education about it and people are aware about it, then that's the time they're not desperate about it. You would know that something which is kept in hidden, or something which is discussed as a weird thing, a bad thing, a sick thing, and sex in our country is repressed now. Whether it's India, even other parts of the world, it's repressed now. It is seen as something which should not be spoken about, which should not be talked about. So that makes it such a topic that probably has created a lot of evil which is related to sex. These concepts of one night stands and these concepts of flings and casual dating, they never used to exist because people were so aware about their sexuality. So some amount of education about your sexuality also automatically comes when you do ascension. A lot of people don't know about this, but when you actually start going within you, inner work is stronger, then you automatically also feel very comfortable with those parts of you which are not explained properly, which were shunned or which were seen as something bad or something wrong. And that's why in that age, people, children, men, women used to do inner work. The reason is because when they would do inner work, all of their chakras will automatically start working. And with the inner work, the help of inner work, even if there were some wounds about sexuality, about your own individuality, about your own existence, that would also automatically get healed. This is the power of focused attention. This is the power of dhyan. If you get into it, then there is no looking back. So it's not like you only have to read books, because when you do focused attention, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of peace automatically flows into you. So back in those days, there used to be gurukuls, and this is a type of education where, in ancient India, people used to live with the guru or near the guru in the same house. The ashram was created in such a way where the mother, like the wife of the guru, would become the mother of all the disciples. She would literally live with the children because the children were young at that time and they did need a mother. So she would be the mother for all the children, and they had such strong detachment that, when the children used to come, she would shower all her love to them, while the guru would be teaching them all the skills, and the basic knowledge of Vedas was given, and then a lot of other knowledge was spiritually transferred because they would do a lot of inner work. Every day they would do practice. So mentally the children would become very strong. Automatically they would get aligned with the nature, and then nature automatically will add certain elements of knowledge and wisdom into them. The word Gurukul itself means the house of the Guru. And there were various other religions at one time that used to all promote Gurukul system. But the problem was that this was shut down when the British came to India. The beautiful wedding of Shiva and Divine Mother Shakti, which is Sati. The same India that was known as the Golden Bird. The same India where even a child was much more aware than other people in other parts of the world. That India which was attracting the whole world because of the spices, because of the wealth and prosperity and opulence, and obviously they all wanted to do business in India, but business was just, you can say, just a way to enter India. And with all these East India companies, there was not just one East India company, there were many East India companies. They came to India, they started ruling here, they started colonizing here, and the first thing they did was they ended this system of education. This system was so solid proof that when the child used to go to the Gurukul, The guru would become the mother, the guru would become the father of the child. And the guru back in those days, they were genuine gurus, they were real gurus. If they would say something, they would really mean it. If they would do something, it would be full of love and affection and kindness. They were very strong teachers. At the same time, when they were very disciplined, they were also very loving and kind. They would understand each and every student so well, because this is what they were here to do. That was the mission on planet Earth. For the guru and his wife was to raise the best human beings on planet Earth, to provide them the best education, real education, not this bookish knowledge, not this keep memorizing things and keep repeating them when you're asked. They would teach the child real education. They would teach the child how to be in the jungles. They would teach the child how to heal animals. They would animals and birds and human beings. They would teach them humanity and kindness, and most importantly, the biggest thing was inner work. How to control your mind, how to control the sensory perceptions, how to control the 5 senses, and they would help the child reach higher dimensions while they are in the human body. So many teachers would teach astral projections to the children, and the children would actually astrally project. They would travel in space and time, and thus the attachment you have with the identity would totally diminish. The lifespans of those people were much higher. They were much healthier. They were very bright. They were not stuck with the concept of age. So it was only later on, when other invaders had also started coming to India. Even at that time, all this knowledge and all this, these things were diminishing. Because all the invaders would come, they would loot and they would plunder and they would destroy the temples and they would destroy the education systems. They would create havoc. But even till the British colonization was done, in some places the Gurukul systems were still working, functioning. After the British, it was completely over. There are very few people in India who still have the Gurukuls, but again, the Gurukul system needs to come back fully, and it should not just come back in India, but it should come back in all parts of the world, because if all human beings get into ascension mode at a young age, then they will never suffer so much, and they will obviously help Mother Earth heal, because Mother Earth will be healthy. The moment a person gets into ascension mode, the first thing they do is they start taking care of their environment. They start keeping things very clean. They don't like pollution after that. They don't want to do the typical machine-like things. They will question, why am I here and what am I doing here and how I can contribute. So even now, if you are in the ascension journey and if you have children, then your focus should be to give your children the best education, and that education is nothing but inner work. If they get into the practice of focused attention at a young age and they live in a good environment, like they're surrounded by plants and trees and nature, and social animals are there, they help the social animals, take care of the social animals, they know how to grow their own food, they know how to grow their own herbs. They are always going to be self-sufficient and abundant. Because since childhood, they would know that they can make their own food. All this, money and all this greed for money and a luxurious life, a materialistic life, is only because people don't have, anything within them. They are hollow within, they are empty within. So they try to fill it up with things. So when you look at the life of Shiva and Shakti, and Shiva and Sati, because the tragic love story led to a long separation, and then the love story got culminated. Their love story only got culminated because of inner work. The deeper they went into separation, the deeper they did inner work. They did not stop. If one person did not recognize the other, then too the other person did not stop. They did not develop grudges and anger for each other and things like, oh, you don't even love me, you rejected me, you're not with me. So let me first complete what happens with Shiva and Sati, and then I will move on to Shiva and Parvati. Let's try to do it in 2 parts so that I can cover more things and I can give you more information. And maybe a lot of this information could be of help to a lot of you, because you guys are also trying to ascend. You guys are also trying to heal the anima and animus. Anima and animus is a description given by Carl Jung, And he studied human psychology, and he describes animus as the unconscious masculine side of the woman, and anima is the unconscious feminine side of the man. So according to him also, that both men and women have an unconscious masculine and feminine counterpart within them already, and they need to revive it and they need to heal it to become a complete human being. And then, once you're complete within, you're complete, divine and whole, and you know this, and you feel it, and you live in it, and you believe in it, what's going to happen? Obviously, you're going to see it in your 3D reality as well. You will see the flow of love in everything. It's not only in a man-woman relationship that you will see this love. You will see it everywhere. You'll feel better, when you are living on planet Earth. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll become so natural that half of the times things will happen spontaneously and you won't even get to know. Because you are not the doer anymore. Nature takes over you. Nature becomes the person, the energy that does everything for you. And you're here to witness, to observe. You're in the witness consciousness and awareness consciousness. So maybe in case of Shiva and Sati, certain parts of their unconscious masculine and feminine were not healed. And that's the reason why via Sati, Shiva had to go through this lack of acceptance. He was not acknowledged by the family of Sati. And obviously Shiva did not like it, but he was so happy to be with Sati that only looking at Sati's innocent face and her smile and her love and the companionship that they had, they used to live together. That used to make him so happy that he said that, okay, it's okay, they don't accept me, it's fine. My lover, my beloved accepts me and she loves me. But we are all a part of the society we live in, and sometimes, we have not healed those part of us, so it reflects back to us through us only. So then what happened was, the story proceeds, and Daksha Prajapati had basically invited all the gods and goddesses, all the deities to a big yajna, to a big puja that he was conducting. And we all know in India, your puja cannot be complete if Shiva is not there, because Shiva is the lord of all gods. And he was so vicious and he was so cunning, he was so mean that he invited everyone, especially all the other, son-in-laws, because he had other daughters too who were married to other deities. He invited every single deity, he invited all the daughters, but he did not invite Sati and Shiva. So that was really heartbreaking for Sati. This hidden or unconscious masculine side of a woman and the unconscious feminine side of a man, it transcends the identity's personal experience, because this is a hidden part of us. It will sometimes, not let us make the correct decisions. It will make us a little bit impressionable. It will make us not see what's there in the bigger picture, because it is not healed, or it is sort of subdued, unconscious. It's not working, basically. It needs to be fully functional as well, and it will only be fully functional with deep diving into your mind, with a lot of mental practice, with deep meditation, with focused attention, with dhyan. This is what will revive, or this will heal the unconscious part of a man's feminine side and a woman's masculine side. And it is obviously very visible that there are some women who look very masculine, act very masculine. There are some men who are very feminine, very nurturing. Even if they have those qualities, they still need to heal the other aspect too. It cannot be like too much of masculine is there or too much of feminine is there. Both the energies have to be in balance, and both of them make them totally independent people. Emotionally very independent, mentally very independent, very strong, it's like a force to reckon with. In the current scheme of things on planet Earth, it is the feminine energy who needs to heal the masculine template as well, because the masculine template or the patriarchy of planet Earth is badly wounded. When the men are not in their real energies, then they all about power, about bodily power, showing off of power, bodily strength. They'll keep getting into wars, destruction. They don't have a heart. They don't have a soul in place. They only want to prove their strength to other men. So they'll conquer other places, they'll fight with each other. Then they'll also try to use sexuality like, oh, these are the number of women I've slept with. So I'm such a great man. Actually, a healed man would never think like that about other women. He would never see a woman as an object of sex, an object of completion of his desire. So if you're divine masculine who's unhealed right now, he has used you for sexuality, he has used you for sex, he's played around with you, with your emotions, and he did not even, acknowledge it. He did not even bring it up that, this is what happened between us. He simply just preferred to ignore you. He did not think about how it would, what it would do to your morale. But this type of pain is very important for the feminine, because when she gets betrayed by the man, because she's already imagined, she's already thought in her head that this is how my divine masculine is. She already has an image of him. But when that image does not fulfill, that image does not happen in real life, that is when she feels betrayed. So that's when she needs to heal her own inner masculine. The anima and the animus have to be healed. And for Shiva and Sati too, the same thing had happened back then. So this is where I'm going to pause in this story, and I will come back to you and I'll complete the story of how then Parvati meets Shiva and how they get married and how they get into union and what happens with Sati. All of that I will tell you in the next part of this story. Thank you so much for being here with me. One love and peace out.